Well, good morning. You're watching Morning at NTV. I said for the next couple of days until tomorrow, which is the NTV Economic Summit, we'll be dealing with industries or categories that we believe are very key in what the theme is to create growth, but with jobs. Because our biggest complaint for this year and the years before has been unemployment. We're churning out educated people, but they can't fit in the market. They can't even find something in the market. We have people who are creating jobs. They're doing something, but even they have a few, issues here and there that they're complaining about, so they can't sustain it. So as we have this discussion, yesterday I asked my guest, Dr. Fred Muhumuza, what two categories or industries do you believe that if we put our energy in, we might get results? And said, obviously, agriculture. But he said something people ignore is actually insurance. He said we have key players, and if they can think about lessening the risks for these people who are creating jobs, will be good. So I figured I'd call the Uganda Insurance Association.
Yes.
Faith Ekudu, your PR and also advocacy.
Yeah.
So you're into insurance.
Yes.
You know insurance. If we started talking insurance, you're the person, Faith.
Yes, I am the person. I want to believe I am.
First of all, I was very surprised he
Yeah.
actually mentioned insurance because aren't you the people who we forget?
Right? And I think it's very important that he actually mentioned insurance.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, you mentioned earlier that you talked about agriculture and insurance. Now, what's interesting is that we actually, as the insurance industry, are a key player in sustaining the agriculture industry. Yeah. So one of the things the government has actually done is create the Uganda Agriculture Insurance Scheme. So it's an insurance subsidy program.
Whoa.
So what happens is that depending on the size of your farm, the government will pay insurance premium for you up to 50% or up to 30%.
Then you
depending.
fill in the rest.
And then you fill in the rest. So if you
Great.
think about it, if a farmer is paying about 12,000 shillings in insurance premium and government is paying 6,000 shillings for you, why wouldn't you take insurance?
So there's that, we're noting that there's risk.
Yeah.
And if we have less risks, I mean, then you're able to, because I think in creating growth with jobs, it means whoever is creating these jobs needs to be sustained. If I have my business, I need to know that I can actually manage this business, I can pay these people.
Yes.
If anything happens to my property or anything.
Yes, and interestingly enough, when we have these conversations, people always say, insurance is expensive, it's for whatever. But if you think about it, if you invested, let's say, 5 million shillings into your business, and something happened and you went back to zero, you would have to look for that 5 million shillings.
Or even more, depending on how the market has changed.
Exactly. So if you paid just a little money in premium, I would give you back your 5 million. You wouldn't have to start at zero. But then the thing is, we need to change the way people think about it. Because as the investor, you want to be able to say, I've put in my money, I've created jobs, I need this business to be sustainable. And that is where the insurance comes in. To make sure that if anything happens with respect to risk, we can restore you and you can continue doing your job and you don't have to worry about this. So one of the things that we do as the association is actually take advantage of these opportunities, because like you said, I've invested, I need to be sustained in this, and I need to grow, because that's the point of business. That's why you're in business.
Yes.
You don't want to start as 2, 10 years later you're still 2.
And that's for you, the business owner.
Yeah.
For me, who's working for you, I need to know that there's job security. You can't close in 2 years.
Exactly.
I still expect to have my job and grow through it, so you can't let go. But I think before we break down what exactly insurance is doing, apart from what you just mentioned in agriculture, and I'm sure that's not the only initiative, what perhaps Uganda Insurance Association does, just to bring everyone up to speed.
Okay, so basically what we do is create a platform for discussion for the insurance industry. But for us, at the core of all of this is the client.
Okay.
Because I like to say, if you're
not
happy,
the insurance.
No. Okay. Because you see, if you're not happy, Flavia, as the client, then my member is not in business.
Yes.
Because he has to serve you. So for me, my core role is to get you to understand it and you to appreciate it.
Are you the bridge between me and the insurance company?
Exactly. So every
to.
Insurance company in this country is a member of Uganda Insurance Association. So we have about 34 members. So that means that we
help me understand. Is 34 good for the country? Is that enough? Are we doing okay? Someone was hoping it's 150, 200.
Well, look at it this way.
Yes.
Insurance penetration is less than 1%. Right? So that's
so at 34 players we're
so we keep saying that we have over 95% opportunity for growth.
Okay.
Right? So if you can come in, and the thing is that we're saying, let us not just have companies for having companies. Let's have companies that produce products that make sense for the and are relevant to this market.
That's true.
Because what will happen is that, yes, we'll have very nice long lists of members, but if you're not relating as a business person, as an individual, I won't buy. And then we'll continue in this little cycle. And
insurance products are not, or services are not meant for the company.
Exactly,
for the people.
They're meant for the people.
Yes.
So it's interesting when we talked about policy and triggering policy for economic growth. Because the question is, you've invested, what happens? You know? And so when somebody asks me like how I define insurance, I keep saying insurance is the answer to what happens.
Or the ones you never know. Yeah. You know, that's key, because they're saying that when you're talking economic growth and insurance companies, or maybe even the association, you have the role of looking ahead, predicting. Based on this market, this could happen. If this are maybe you see an industry growing, you see a trend, people are more interested in farming or in this, you start to predict climate change. You say seed quality, you say this and this, and you start to look forward. Are we doing that?
Yes, we are. Because like we said at the beginning, it's like a bit of how do we sustain you? And so when we look at basically risk management in general, there are about 4 things you can do when you face a risk. And I keep saying, like, when you wake up in the morning and you decide to take a boda to work,
anything can happen.
Then you ask yourself, okay, should I take the boda? Yes or no? If you say no, that's what we call avoidance.
Okay.
Right?
You've avoided the risk.
It.
Okay.
You say yes. You say, okay, now I'm going to face this risk.
Okay.
Fine. So 1, am I going to mitigate the risk? Which means, am I going to maybe wear a helmet?
Okay. Sort of preventing. Yeah.
Or am I just going to go the way I am?
Yeah.
Right? Or do I say, okay, I'm going to call maybe a safe border who will give me a helmet and then I'll be covered. So I'm going to transfer kind of that risk to someone else.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we do in insurance, is where you say, okay, I'm going to potentially face this risk. Let me not worry about this. Let me give this to somebody else to worry about, and then I can continue with my life, right?
Okay.
So what we come in and look at a business and say, okay, this is potentially what will happen. Let's reduce it. For example, we say when you have a building, put in fire extinguishers. That's a way to mitigate that risk, so that if a fire happens, at least you'll have that first point of reference. Then we say, okay, so the fire extinguisher is in place. It has reduced your risk, which means even the money you're going to pay
less.
Exactly.
Okay.
So when even we go into SMEs and such, you do a little analysis and you say, okay, you can do this to mitigate this risk, but we shall take on this portion of it, so that in event this happens, then we shall you're safe. So, but then also, just speaking from the industry's perspective, just by itself, when you talk about economic growth with jobs, the insurance industry is, as I said, less than 1%. So we are about, I would say, a maximum of 3,000 people employed in the insurance industry. Right? That's not too many people.
You're creating growth for jobs for other people.
Exactly.
Not for you.
So, but there are opportunities for jobs in the insurance industry. Because the question is, if we have, let's call us 40 million Ugandans, and only 3,000 are serving, it means we need to be able to grow talent into this industry. So it needs to grow to be able to expand to reach everyone's needs.
When you say everyone, when we talk about insurance for growth, especially in jobs, who should we be focusing on? The NTV that employs me, or me as well? Is there a discussion for insurance even for me?
Yes, because at the end of the day, guess what? You're the one who will influence NTV to buy. Because at the end of the day, you're the person.
Yes.
You're the person before you're the organization.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So if I can explain to you and convince you that, you know what, you should be able to take care of your life, because God forbid something happens to you and you're not there to provide, what happens to people? So if I can explain and you can see it as a benefit as an individual, guess what? When you come to work at NTV, you'll say, NTV, I need you to have workers' compensation insurance, because if anything happens to me here, my people need to be compensated.
Yes.
You know, so it's a spillover effect.
Right.
You know, so it goes beyond just the individual. And that's what we're advocating for, because we're saying you need to understand it fast and appreciate it fast before it can go to, you know. So one of the interesting things that we're doing, not only as the insurers, but financial services in general, is we're pushing for financial literacy.
Oh yes, if you know better, you do better.
Exactly.
Honestly.
Because the thing is, like, we think about financial literacy and we think, oh my God, this big monkey that I don't understand. But it's very simple. You think about things like personal financial management. Can you manage a budget? Right? Now, interestingly enough, most of us don't manage budgets. We get money in, money out. So you're living a life you can't afford. If you're living a life you can't afford, you don't have money to invest.
Yes.
Right? Which means you can't grow. Or you can't sustainably grow anyway, because you'll be borrowing to pay off people. And that's where loan management comes in. Right? And if you have the loan management, you figured out your investment, you can plan for retirement, you can plan for your insurance. And so that's what we're saying. When it comes to policy, though, financial literacy needs to be core, because at the end of the day, we want to go as far as the LC chairman having a meeting and explaining to you people's savings and explaining to you how to plan a budget, because it means you'll make a better financial decision. And if not, it will mean that me and my husband, it will go from me and my husband to my children to possibly even the 8th, 10th, 9th, whatever, 13th generation, which is what we're looking about, growth over time. And when we look at Uganda as a nation, that's where we need to be headed. We need to be able to work in an economy that is growing, and we're looking at the end picture, not today.
Yeah, and I think it's good that you said you start the financial literacy from down here, because even they're reaching the person who's in Essex vacation, who's saying, okay, if I stay for about 2 years without getting a job, I need to start my own business. That comes with a lot.
Yes.
That comes with a lot.
If it had been explained to you in P3, in P4,
don't even
imagine
go there.
where we would be today.
We don't touch the money, and then later touch the money. Look for that money. So you're not even sure what to do. But you know, I feel like insurance, because I was listening to something this morning, and they were saying that cost of insurance, and you did mention it and said a lot of people are afraid of insurance because they think it's expensive. And you're saying don't look at it from a cost point of view, look at it from a it can help you do this and this. But they were saying that also, if you're looking at my tiny company or a big company, whatever, I'm looking at not paying, it's not priority. I'm not saying this is how much I make and 60% of it is going to insurance.
Yes.
I'm paying insurance from some other money that is there. But it's also related to the price of everything else.
Yes, it is.
Because you said you're dealing with people.
Yep.
Talk about the importance of us looking at what the market has as well. If my food is expensive, what I'm wearing is expensive, my fuel is expensive, everything is insurance going to be priority? Right?
It's interesting that you bring that up. And one of the things we're actually advocating for as the industry is a reduction in taxes. Because the thing is, if I'm coming to Flavia and convincing her that, you know, if you put aside savings, by the time you retire, you'll have so much money.
Yes.
But you see, if there's no tax incentive on that, I'm telling myself, you know what, I'll survive. When I'm around 55, I will figure it out.
I'll see what to do.
It's not, that's not enough time. Because at that point, you probably have grandkids and I don't know, whatever else is happening in your life. But we're saying government needs to be able to encourage the growth, because what is happening is, like in that example of the farmer I gave you, 12,000 shillings is insurance premium. 35,000 shillings is a stamp duty.
Hey,
on top of that, you're going to pay an 18% VAT. On top of that, you're going to pay a levy. So the insurance is 12,000 shillings. The tax
is 35. And plus, by the time you get to all the other taxes.
So what we're saying is that there needs to be a balance here, because at the end of the day, I'm a poor, let me say, I run a border business. I honestly have invested this money because I want to be able to provide for my family.
Yes.
Now, when I'm at my job, I'll probably be in an accident. My passenger might be injured or something. Motor third party will only pay up to 1 million shillings. Maximum. The truth is, I'm liable for way more than 1 million shillings. So if the insurance company provides a product for me, I want to be able to afford it. But the thing is, like you're saying, there are competing interests. So the question is, can't we reduce the tax component so that at least we can have more people protected?
Yes.
Because it's not even that we are pushing insurance. It just makes sense, because if that border man is not working, he's not contributing to the economy.
That's true.
You know, at the end of the day, these things all work together. So we need to be able to say we are growing small-scale business people, we are growing individuals sustainably. Because if we have mediums in place to cushion in the case of any shock, then it works out for everyone. But it needs to be balanced. you know, because as the industry we like to say, we are in full support of government initiative. We're just saying give everyone a fair chance to succeed.
That's true.
Yeah.
So you said insurance penetration. I understood not enough of us are insured.
Yeah.
And probably it's good you said literacy, because not many of us understand the value of insurance. I know the last time there was a discussion, we took this to Omuntu Awansi, and they were asking them about insurance, and some of them said, "Patuba." Because nze nyina taxi yange manyi nti biri mu third party sima birimu ebichi naye tebatusasulangako. And I think people never understand that. But let's talk about both ends. Those who, the taxi, for example, that's the best case scenario. Because me, if it's my car, I understand that. By the way, even I may not understand. Let's tell the truth.
I was wondering. I was like,
let's tell the truth. Some of you are driving cars, and third party you take a course at police doesn't stop you.
Yeah,
you don't even. You don't know
why you have it.
You don't know why you have it.
Yeah.
What happens? Is it because I go and I pay and they put it on my car? Nobody sits me down and
and explains it to you. Well, that's kind of what we're trying to change, because like you've rightly said, most of us just buy it, put it there. In fact, we are lucky that even some of us buy it, because
you do it at police, third party Gina. Yes,
that is like, okay, I'm good.
Yes.
But so what we're trying to say, and I like that you said the person who's down there, that is the person we're actually interested in, because you know what? Unfortunately, depending on where you are, you might have other alternatives.
Yes.
For me down there, I have paid painfully my premium, right? Because I don't want to get caught, but I don't know where the benefit is.
Yes.
Right? So what we are doing a lot more, and we do this through the year, is actually sit down with small groups like that and say, what are your questions? Because what happened is you went in, you gave your logbook, they gave you this paper, you put it on your car, see you next year.
Don't just buy insurance.
You know
what you're buying.
Know what you're buying. Because what will happen if you're in an accident? What do?
You run.
Which is not a good thing. You may run, which is,
whether they're right or wrong, by the way, they run.
From physical exercise point of view, but
they don't know whether if I'm right, okay, what can I get back?
And so we keep saying, don't run away. Actually, motor third party insurance is actually a government initiative. So the government of Uganda said, you know what? People are going to use roads, people are going to be injured, what do we do? And they came up with the third party, the statutory motor third party. So essentially what we are telling people is there is a buffer in place. Now again, to be fair, the insurance, that particular act came into force about 88, 89. So it's really old.
Times have changed.
Yes. So then 1 million shillings was a lot of money. Today 1 million shillings doesn't really do a lot. So what the Insurance Regulatory Authority is doing is actually revising that act to bring it up to date. Because like you're saying, yeah, I run away, then we have this vehicle in our hands and we're like, what do we do? And the truth is there are people who are injured, who need to be catered for.
Yes.
And yet this insurance there to help that kind of situation. So we're sitting down with people and saying, this is what it is, this is how it works. If you have a question, this is who you call.
Yes.
Very big partner for us is Uganda Police Force, because they're the first people you will see.
Yes.
You know, so we work closely with the Uganda Police Force to say, when this driver comes, educate them. Even when you are checking to see if that person has third party, explain to them, because we've actually done like road checks where we don't fine you, we don't check you, we just educate you.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, you need to understand.
Yes.
Because what will happen is that if Flavia doesn't understand, you're not going to explain to your daughter, who's not going to explain to her daughter, who's not going to explain.
So that's how many people don't know.
You know, we are trying to cut that cycle, in short, so that people understand.
So I guess Dr. Mumza was right. Insurance is quite key when we're talking about economic growth.
Yeah, it is.
We can't put them under there and say they come as by the way in our conversation.
I know. Yeah. And earlier on, the show before was talking about oil and gas.
Yes.
So oil and gas, when you think about it, the risks in oil and gas are huge.
But they've promised us so many jobs and so much money, Faith.
And we're all waiting. But the thing is, it's kind of like when they say and you'll forgive this example, but somebody said if a fuel tanker blows up in the middle of town, the impact would be tremendous.
Have you seen the fuel stations then right next to a school, a hospital?
I can't. I don't know how to explain. Anyway, it's a whole other conversation.
Isn't that also risk?
It is very risky.
That's also risk.
But the question is, if God forbid that happened, how do we cater for everyone there? you know, because we're talking about lives probably lost, businesses restored, schools, because that education system is, you know, going to be disturbed as well. So in terms of sustaining that the economy in that sense, insurance is actually very important. Because I think most times we think about it microscopic, as in I am alone, therefore what I do won't impact anyone. But when the impact of what you're doing goes beyond you, which is what everyone does, then you really need to consider the risk you're exposing yourself and other people too.
All right. So the NTV Economic Summit is tomorrow. Clearly, as much as we want to talk and scream agriculture and oil and gas and what, insurance is going to be a very key conversation. Because some of you might be thinking, that's for the person who has a company that employs 200 people. No. Even if it's just you. You are the technical person, you are the supplier, you are the even if it's just the messenger, you know, you are also, you know, you need insurance. You do. So you'll be very surprised. As long as there's risk, you need insurance. Which is clearly, you cannot go with growth with jobs without risk. So this has been quite eye-opening. So look out for that conversation on insurance. Thank you so much, Faith Ekudu from Uganda Insurance Association. Thank you for having us. This is the umbrella organization for all insurance companies. So if we have if I have a problem with my insurance company, it is you. Where to find us. Fantastic. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you very much.
That's it for Morning at NTV. This NTV Economic Summit conversation continues, of course, tomorrow, which is the big day. Have a good day.